Okay, good morning. Welcome to Tai Chi Movement for Wellbeing. This is the session where we just let everything go. So it's about releasing tension. It's about bringing in that concept of mindful movement. So very much focusing in on you, on the body, with the intention just letting the world outside these four walls slip away. And hopefully by doing that, we come back into ourselves, and by the end of the session, gives you that sense of relaxation, that sense of energy that means that we almost feel renewed. So let's just think about what we need for this session. It's a Monday morning, so just make sure you're here. I tend to do this session with no shoes on, but you can do it with your socks on, you can do it with shoes on. I like to really feel the ground beneath my feet. It's up to you. What you don't want is a really thick pair of shoes or shoes with a heel that you can't really become grounded with. If we're doing this session seated, you might want a chair. Chair without arms is the best, but whatever you've got, use to the best of your ability. What you want to do if you're seated is make sure that you can really feel the sitting bones on the chair, but also feel your feet on the floor. It sort of doesn't tend to work if the feet are swinging because we're not grounded. We're almost in that sort of sense of swinging, or, you know, we're in limbo really. So we need to really use that ground to feel secure. So this is what we're going to do if we're seated. And lastly, particularly if you're standing, we sort of want enough movement around us. So just take those arms out to the side. Make sure you're not going to hit anything. There's nothing worse than really getting into your flow and then bruising your arm. When you feel ready, then we're just going to think about how we feel today. This might be the first thing you do today, particularly since the clocks have gone forward. We're all slightly discombobulated. So how are we feeling? Are we up to this session? Is there anything that feels a little bit sore that we might need to be more gentle with? So what we're going to say is we're not going to avoid movement, but we're going to be very gentle around the areas that might be a little bit sore. And if you're feverish or unwell that way, we're not going to do this today. Come back to this another time. Same link you can use. When you're ready, we're going to play around with this foot position. Find that position. It's not too narrow, not too wide. Notice how you feel in each position, and just keep playing with it till you come back to the position that feels right for you. And once you're there, have a little look down. Just check that it looks right to you, and just check how we tend to stand. Do we tend to stand a little bit like that? Okay, if we do stand a little bit like that, we often tend to sort of stand a little bit like that. So what we're going to try and do is just gently bring your feet to slightly more parallel position. Don't worry if they're slightly outturned. And then we're going to think about this spine. So if we take the hands to the center of the spine, just soften those shoulders. Think about that spine lengthening upwards, all the way through that neck to the crown of that head. Imagine that lovely long line. And then you're going to take that line down to that tailbone. Notice any tension in that tailbone. See if you can just almost unloosen the cap. Let that tension flow out. And then imagine that big long tail hanging from that tailbone all the way down towards your heels. When you've thought about that spine, when you feel ready, just to let go, let those arms relax. Just take those knees off lock and rub these hands together. This is our warm-up. We're going to place that head, let them rest in your hands. We're going to notice how that breathing feels. Notice any tension in the shoulders. And then again. And as we rub these hands together, we're noticing how the skin feels. The bone structure of the hands feel like. And again, just allowing the hands to receive that faith. This is your space, your private space. You can relax. You can be yourself. No need to put up an appearance. And last time. As you let that head rest, let those shoulders, neck, arms soften. And we'll just let those hands come away from the face. And bring in those fingertips. We're going to let them continue this massage. So we're going to take this tapping. Imagine these fingertips dancing over the head, going wherever your body tells you it wants you to go. It might tell you it wants to stop for a bit, and that's okay. And then to this right side of the neck, that opposite hand, we're going to take, I'm using my fist, you can take the fingertips, you can take that smoothing action. I'm just going to show you from this angle. You can stay facing forwards. So notice that tension in the shoulders, if there is any. We're going to come down that arm. And if you can, draw our attention to how that arm feels to the hand that's doing the massage. How does that chest feel? Good. Let's do the same on the other side. Paying particular attention to the shoulder. You have this wonderful situation where we're waiting for more freedoms, some more freedoms already. But I think that anticipation comes with more tension. How are things going to look? When is it going to happen? So we'll see if we can let some of that tension just seep out to the shoulders. And let's take that massage to the chest. So if you struggle with chest infections at this time of year, maybe hay fever, you might want to pay particular attention to this chest. Maybe digestive issues. Good. Just temper your touch so it's right for you. Let's not do what we did last week. Let's do what we need today. And then we'll come round to those kidneys, to that lower back. And then when you feel ready, down the backs of these legs. Only as far as you feel comfortable. And then back up those insides. And then we'll come down the outside. Always back up the inside. Finally down the front of those legs. Wonderful. And then we just shake those arms out. Shake those legs out. And before we start that first sequence, we're going to think about that hip movement. We've been talking about it quite a bit, the folding of the hips. So as these hips move, rather than these knees sort of twisting out of line, we're going to really look after them. So if we think in terms of those legs straight, that tail, long tail reaching down to the heels, and then just gently softening those knees. You can barely see it when I do it. So if I was to exaggerate, then it's too far and you can see it. So just taking those knees off lock, the boat settling in water. And then what we're going to try and do is keep that tail, that imaginary tail on the floor, and we're almost going to rotate around it. So we're going to just gently rotate those hips, but we're trying to keep those knees in line with that second toe. So it's a tiny movement, then back to center, then the same. So my hips aren't particularly flexible, so I'm not the greatest one at doing this. And this is why I think it's important just to show you, because sometimes I think you can barely see me doing it. But we should be protecting the knees as we take the weight into that right leg, back to center, weight into the left. So that when we're doing our diagonal repatterning, the actual movement is here, but the hips turning make it look like I'm pushing across the body. So we'll just shake those feet out. And then when you feel ready, straight legs, hands on that center, shoulders soft. Let's just take those knees off lock. And as we do that, allow those arms to connect with the center. Let's move from that center. And when you feel comfortable, on that breath out, diagonal repatterning. There's that breath into center, that breath out. You can feel those feet connected to that ground. The ground feels solid, secure. You feel balanced. And we can relax. And then 2 dragons wrapping. So with that little softness in the knees, just taking that weight transfer into that left and right side. Letting that tension flow away from the shoulders, neck, head, arms. This softness. And as the legs stop, the arms take a little bit longer. And again, from that straight-legged position, settling like that boat in water. And as if we had that globe resting in our arms, lift that chest. We're going to open up that right side of the body. And then we're going to open up the left side of the body. And then just lifting that chest over that globe, opening up that lower back. Opening up the right side of the body. And then opening up that abdomen. So as we roll from east to south to west to north, we're breathing out as we go south, as we return to north, breathing in. So let that neck and that head soften. Where does it feel it needs to be? tend to hold it very tense in this movement. So let it soften, let it go with this flow, changing direction. Breathing out. Breathing in. This flow. Softness. And take one more. If any of these movements feel difficult or uncomfortable, we're going to use that soft limit. So we might make them a little bit smaller. We might even stand grounded, arms relaxed, and simply visualize us doing the move. So with that little knee bend, we're just going to push those feet down into the floor. Let's think about that breathing without trying too hard. Drawing that breath in, pushing that breath out. Finding that long spine, that long neck. No beginning, no end. As we reach the end of the move, we simply start to move back to the beginning of the move. It's like a cycle, a circle. Each move flowing into the next. Heaven and earth. Those circles. I'm going to show you. You stay facing forwards. I'm going to show you from a different angle. It's almost like that rowing movement. So if I'm lifting your sleeves up and you're letting me, as we move back down, just imagine tracing that lower spine down through that tail towards the heel. Breathing in, breathing out. And then open to the day. So it's one of those movements where we become a little bit unstuck. Find you try really hard. Let's see what happens when we overreach. That unpleasant stretching here, the shoulders become sore. Now what happens if we just bring it back, relax the shoulders? Is that great feeling? Breathing out. So find that point that we can relax all the way. Good. Now on the next breath out, we're going to move into flex the sky. So sweeping down, keeping those heels on the floor, straightening through those legs, breathing in. So from this grey day, let's move those clouds away. They tell us there's sunshine coming. So let's help it get here. So let's push that grey away. Let the sunshine come through, and remember that soft limit so it can be smaller. And then we're going to reverse this move. So if you find shoulders wise, this is challenging, take those thumbs wider rather than behind you. Breathe out. Soften that neck. Breathe in. Soften that neck as we sweep wide. Breathing in. Good. Straightening those legs. Gazing at the moon. Start folding in those hips again. Transferring the weight into that left leg. Coming back to center. That tail is down. We're just having a little gaze. What lies behind, to the side? There's something there you hadn't noticed before. Let's try it with two hands. And take that natural step. So we're going to take this left foot and gently turn it away from center. So I tend to move from 12 o'clock, somewhere between 1 and 2 o'clock. You may prefer a wider step, just maybe 3 or 2. As we take your weight into that knee, just let those hips turn in line with that knee. And then we're going to try and step out. So just place that heel down and out. And as you transfer the weight into both feet, bring those hips back. And then it's as if from this center, this expansion, this connection with this abdomen. And we're going to pray about with that weight transfer, that long spine. I'm going to breathe into that back foot. Breathe out into that front foot. So then we're going to breathe in. Here am I. Breathing out. As we're moving forwards, we're saying, this is me, this is who I am. It's an honest move. Not pretending that we're something we're not. There's amazing things that maybe we would prefer to be better at, but that's what makes us individual. That's what makes us different and exciting. So we're going to appreciate everything that makes us us. And we'll bring that foot back. We're going to turn this one away. Just allow those hips to move. And then as you place that heel down, bring those hips back. Good. So we're going to breathe in. coming back to center. Allowing those knees to soften, that tail to come down. We're going to explore that connection between the hands, palms of the hand. Is there a connection today? Is there not? Maybe we'll find it later. Then we're going to bring that left hand over the right. Allow that connection to take place with your center. Waving hands like clouds. So there's that weight transfer from left to right. And then coming back to center, feeling that connection. 5 elements. 5 elements of nature. Breathing in. We're going to imagine the right side. You can feel these winds blowing, rustling through the trees. You can see the birds playing, diving, swooping, using that air to move, have fun. It's like watching children play. You know, imagine being there, just watching that scene as we breathe in, breathe out. And when you feel ready, you bring that weight into that left leg. We're going to start to draw this circle of well-being around that body. And that weight comes through that left to right, right to left. Breathing out, breathing in. Using that soft limit. So if you feel slightly dizzy with this movement, we'll keep that circle smaller. Keep that head above the heart. Then we'll change direction. Right to left. Shoulders are soft. Neck is soft. Face is soft. Feeling that connection. Those roots growing down into the floor through the soles of your feet. That connection from your center. And take that breath in. And return to center as we breathe out. Breathing in. Allowing those shoulders to soften. Standing within yourself. And then when you feel ready, starting to come alive to some of the noises. The dog barking in the background. He's just started at the right time. You might want to just give those arms a little shake, give the legs a little shake. It's quite static. And one thing I will say is I tend not to move too much, but if you need to wiggle those feet between each move, you do that. It's absolutely fine. So we're going to go into the next segment in a moment, or the next section, which is exactly the same, just 3 moves on each of the sections. But if you've got a drink with you, you might want a quick sip of water. I'm going to have a quick sip of my water here. Hot water. When I said sip, I actually drank it all. So, remembering what we were talking about at the start, sort of trying to capture that flow, trying to capture that essence of softness. And by moving out of that soft limit, by overdoing it, we suddenly tense. So we're going to come back into that position where we're challenging our movements, but not pushing too hard. So it's not as if we're doing nothing, but we're not overreaching, we're not overdoing. So in this section, with that 3 movements, let's think about the ground beneath our feet. Think about it being solid. Imagine doing this sequence stood on your mattress. So you might have a very hard mattress, and if so, but imagine doing this stood on a soft mattress. So imagine how odd it would be. Imagine how almost tense you would feel, and how you'd have to really make those movements quite small because of the unstable base. So now really appreciate that stability underneath us. Appreciate the fact that it's not going anywhere, and then breathe out, soften into it. Think about that long spine. Let's just take those hands together one more time. Relax into those hands. Notice if this is easier to do this time. May not be. But it takes practice to relax, to soften, to lose tension. It can be one of the most difficult things in the world. Sometimes it just isn't happening, it isn't happening, but you keep practicing, and one day the magic comes. So let's keep trying. Let's take that. Tap in. Down that right side. And notice any changes from that first massage. I'm noticing that I'm finding it easier to focus on that area. Noticing. Noticing that my hands are still cold. Noticing the disappointment that comes with that. But just noticing. And then just let that disappointment flood away. See what happens. Noticing how the backs of the legs feel. Remember, we can bend these knees as we go down. We want to protect the lower back a little bit. Noticing that my body wants just a little bit more vigor this time. Just saying, come on, give me a little bit more. All the way up. Good. And then just giving those feet, oh, they don't want to shake this time. Maybe just loosening up those shoulders. And then think about that spine. Sink that tail down. Connect with that center. Diagonal repatterning to your right. Let that weight sink through that right leg. And you're pushing that foot down in the floor to come back up to center. That breath out. Just letting those arms, shoulders soften. Taking that transfer away. Just letting those arms follow. Allowing that head to follow as much as you feel comfortable with it following. It's that playful move. We're in the playground. We don't know what to do. And then thinking about that long spine. That softening, settling like that boat in water. Opening up that left side. That vital organ warmer. So this movement, very good. That intestinal health. Getting some movement in that area. Breathing out. Breathing in. Changing direction. Softening the shoulders. Letting that head relax. Letting those shoulders soften. Just that breath in. That breath out. Coming back. Allowing those shoulders to slide. Let those arms become heavy. And that softening of the knees, straightening the legs, breathing in, breathing out. Think about that long spine. long neck, that breath filling, emptying. Breathing in life, breathing out tension. Breathing in softness. Breathing out that tension. Toes are soft. Feel that ground beneath the feet. That welcome, open to the day. Finding your soft limit. Finding your flow. Moving into flex the sky. As we bend those knees, heels down. Opening. And as we close, how does that feel? As we open, how does that feel? Rowing that boat, reversing that move, using the power of those legs, sinking down, then the legs start synchronize with the arms. Powering this move. Gazing at the moon with two hands. It's as if we had that moon in our hands, placing it in the sky, letting it go, breathing out, just following it with your gaze. That natural step. So with that left foot, turning those hips. So it's that balance, taking that heel just out, not so far that we topple. So if we're here and we step too far, so we want to really make sure we're in that comfort zone. And then those hips facing forwards, just challenging that weight transfer, breathing in. So you're owning this move. This is your move. No one else is you. There's only one of you. This is yours. Again, allowing those hips to turn, and then just placing that heel down. It'll find the right spot. Turning those hips forward. And then again, breathing in. Those hips facing forwards, shoulders forwards as we breathe out, that long spine. Not trying too hard. Clearing any negative thoughts, any clouds that are just resting around us. Let's move them away. Let's surround ourselves with positive thoughts, positive sunshine. Placing that tail down, waving hands like clouds. So this left hand drawing, the right follows, and then that right hand drawing the left. Imagining those silk scarves attached to those fingers. As we move, the scarves flowing behind the hand. There's no tension, just that flow. And then feeling those feet connected, tail is down. 5 elements. Thinking about the natural will. Thinking about how we feel when we connect with nature. How it nourishes us. How it makes us feel. You see that first primrose, snowdrop, daffodil coming through. And our circle of well-being. So again, taking that weight through that right foot, through to the left. Just making this circle that's right for you. It's about your well-being. Drawing this shimmering line, breathing in, breathing out, changing direction. This is our line. It's going to stay with us all day, all week. It's going to remind us to do something that will nourish us, will nourish our spirit every day. So we're looking after ourselves. And then returning to center. Remembering this move works so well on its own, or with the rest of the sequence, or some of the sequence. Noticing how we feel, noticing our breathing, noticing that need to move your feet properly, and then just gently coming back into the room. And thank you is all I can say. I normally talk far too much. Good morning, Agnes. I didn't clock that one. Thank you very much yourself. Have a great week. It is actually Easter weekend coming up. So on Easter Monday, what I'll do is send you a link to a recorded class, because I'll be gallivanting. Well, actually, I'll be clearing my kitchen, but just hope this session stays with you. I so enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. And if you want to revisit at any time, just follow the link and it'll be recorded. So have a wonderful rest of the week, rest of the day. Happy Easter, Pas Capis, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye. Mwah.